What's going on, everybody? It is your boy Dylan Matthews back at it again with another hometown take. And it's been a little over a week now since the draft, so you know I gotta come with the draft recap right now. Hope you all are doing well. Hope this video finds you well. Hope everybody is staying safe and practicing social distancing. Of course, with all this coronavirus, this COVID-19 going on. So first and foremost, I hope you guys are safe. Hope you guys are doing well. Now, let's get into the video. The draft got us away from all this other stuff going on in the world and got us back into some sports talk, and I love it. So here we go. Falcons. 6 picks in the 2020 NFL draft, made picks in 5 of the 7 rounds in the draft, and I'm going to go and give you some insight for each pick the Falcons made. Let's start with our 16th pick overall in the first round, cornerback out of Clemson, A.J. Terrell. Now, I like the pick at 16, A.J. Terrell. Obviously, there was a lot of talk about us moving up, whether it was to all the way up to number 2, which obviously we would have had to give up a lot. We would have had to give up everything. First round picks for the next couple of drafts, the next few drafts, really. So that was really never a thing I thought would come to fruition. I thought we might trade up a couple of spots if we could find a partner, but no. We stood tall at 16 and we got A.J. Terrell, cornerback out of Clemson, and I like the pick for a couple of reasons. One, it addresses a need. In the NFL draft, it is all about filling holes, addressing needs with the best available talent at that position. Or, if you just need the best available player, get the best available player who also fills somewhat of a need. They filled a big need, obviously, with us cutting Desmond Trufant in the offseason. A.J. Terrell was a big need at the defensive back position. So, a little bit about A.J. Terrell. He is a winner. That is one of the reasons why I like A.J. Terrell. You're bringing a winner onto this Atlanta Falcons team. Someone who already knows a winning program, has been a part of a winning program, who has been coached by one of the greatest coaches in college football, not only right now, but probably will go on to be one of the greatest coaches of all time in Dabo Swinney. So 29-1 record as a starter at Clemson. A winner, bona fide winner, a champion at Clemson. Obviously, when they took down Alabama after that 2018 if you really call it, the 2018-2019 college football season. But you get what I'm saying. So a winner, a champion. What started off the scoring for Clemson when he got that pick six against Tua Tagovailoa in that national championship game a couple of years back. Another reason why I like A.J. Terrell, he balls out, he performs, he's lived up to the hype. A 2019 All-ACC first team, that's through the AP and the coaches. He fits the scheme perfectly. He is a traditional press coverage type of cornerback. He has good speed, good length, good size. So he will fit perfectly in Dan Quinn and Raheem Morris's scheme. And I know with Raheem Morris getting the defense right on the back end of the season last year, those final 8 games, I know he will be able to move A.J. Terrell in, a good talent, and hopefully get him and make him effective right away and get him making plays on that football. Hopefully getting some pick sixes right away as we start the next season for the Atlanta Falcons. There are, however, a couple of criticisms on A.J. Terrell. Obviously, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, but that's with any player. There comes criticisms. It's just how they develop over time and how they, stand up against those criticisms. So, he has been known to be a grabby player. He also, didn't have the best game in the latest championship game when Clemson took on LSU. Joe Burrow and those boys. He got kind of lit up. I'm not gonna lie, got kind of lit up. Didn't have the greatest game, but has Michael Jordan had a bad game? Has Kobe had a bad game? Has Tom Brady, Matt Ryan, Julio, any of the greatest football players? Did Prime Time have bad games? My point is, all players have bad games. A.J. Terrell had a bad game. What is in the biggest spotlight? Yes. Does that concern you some? Yes. But obviously had a good national championship game when they took on and beat Alabama. Has had other great games as well. Otherwise, he wouldn't be a first-round pick. He wouldn't be a top 16 pick. So he has shown out. Some other people have said too as well, we haven't seen enough of A.J. Terrell this past season just because Clemson was blowing everybody out. but he's got enough film to be a 2019 All-ACC first team. He's got enough film to be on that team right there, so I'm not really worried about that. It's not Clemson's fault that they were so good and everybody else in the ACC wasn't up there with them. It's not Clemson's fault that they blew everybody out all the way up to the championship game. Well, the semifinal game was close, but it wasn't their fault that they had an easy road to the season, that all the other teams weren't good. At least definitely not as good as them. So it's not Clemson's fault. That's not AJ Terrell's fault. He still went out there with the plays he was given and he did what he had to do. So I love AJ Terrell on the Atlanta Falcons. Love the pick, and especially for this reason. You know this is hometown take. He is a homegrown Georgia boy from Atlanta, Georgia, went to Westlake High School. So I love that pick, especially for that reason. That's like the icing on the cake. So first round pick, AJ Terrell, checks off the box for me. I think he's going to be a great player, great addition. He's going to come in and help right away. Will he have his down moments? Yes. Will he have his growing pains? Yes. But that's with everybody. That's with every player. We're going to have to get over that. Hopefully Falcons fans won't try to write him off the first time he gets a touchdown pass caught on him, because it will be the first of many for his hopefully long career in the NFL. I think it'll be great. We address the need. Love the pick for the Atlanta Falcons. Moving on to our second round pick, 47th pick overall, defensive end out of Auburn, Marlon Davidson from Greenville, Alabama. I love this pick. Well, into a little secret, he's actually my favorite pick the Falcons made this draft, because just hearing Marlon Davidson speak, hearing him talk about how much he wants to be great, what he will do to be great. This man will do anything to be great. He's going to give it his all. He constantly talked about in the interviews with 1990 Game, with the Falcons, talked about how he's coming in ready to work. Point blank, period. You love to hear those rookies say that. And not that taken away from AJ Terrell. Obviously, I love that pick too. Just explain why I did. But Marlon Davidson just sounded different. He just sounded different talking about the game, talking about how he's ready to go in and work his butt off and do anything he had to be great. Some stats on Marlon Davidson here. 6'3", 303 pound from defensive lineman, again from Auburn. He's versatile. His versatility is what really makes him a perfect pick for the Falcons. Now, Dan Quinn has already come out and said that he will see most of his snaps at defensive tackle next to Grady Jarrett, which thank God, because Grady Jarrett needed some help, period. I mean, you put a Pro Bowler next to somebody who might be able to get the job done, and I think Marlon Davidson will be able to get the job done. He seems relentless. He's going to be on go 100% of the time, going to give 110% all the time, every play, every practice, every game. He's going to be there all the time. You're always going to get Marlon Davidson's best. That's just the vibe I get from him when I hear him talking. So he's big, beefy. He can either be on the edge or be next to Grady Jarrett. You'll probably see him at the defensive end position on early downs, when he's really revved up and ready to go. And then on later downs, we'll see him packing up the inside next to our Pro Bowler and Grady Jarrett. So he ran a 5.04 40-yard dash, which is an amazing time he wasn't quite 300 pounds at the NFL Combine. Guys always slim down. The Combine weight is never really their playing weight. So he'll be like closer to 300 pounds while he's playing, but I think in the Combine he was like 278 or something like that. But still, that's a lot of beef. And to run a 5-second 40 basically, that's impressive. So he's got speed, he's got strength, versatility, he has good hands, good technique, all the things you want in a defensive lineman, all the things you want in a good pass rusher. So he won't just rely on his speed like somebody we know before, Big Beasley. He won't just be relying on his speed to get around the guy. No shade, just truth. But he'll be relying on those hands. He'll have some moves. He won't be just relying on one thing. He'll have a plenty of moves in his repertoire using those hands to get around those offensive linemen of the opposing team and get to that quarterback, get in the backfield, get to those running backs. So Marlon Davidson, a great pick. Some senior stats for Marlon Davidson this year in Clemson. Ended the season with 48 tackles, 11.5 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks, and finished his career at Clemson with 14.5 sacks. So he knows how to get to the quarterback, and that's what the Falcons have been desperately needing these past couple of years, really ever since 2016. Because, guys, I've said it many and many times again, we get to the quarterback, those guys in the backfield, AJ Terrell, now along with them, won't have to cover the great wide receivers in the NFC South, other great wide receivers in the NFC and the NFL as a whole. They won't have to cover those guys for forever, and they'll be able to make plays because guys will be mucking up the backfield, quarterbacks will rush throws, and the defense can get off the field quicker and give more time for Matty Ice, Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, and now Todd Gurley, and all them other boys and all those other weapons on offense. Give them time to work. So, Marlon Davidson, love the pick. I think he is just going to be great. Again, I just heard it in his voice. Here's a quote from Marlon Davidson. He said when he came out the womb, he knew he was destined for greatness. Come on now. You got to know this guy is for real after he says something like that. Just the confidence coming out of Marlon Davidson's voice when you hear him talk about how he's coming in ready, going to be ready to work, ready to give his all. I mean, this guy probably goes 110% when he's playing Madden. That's just the kind of vibe I get from Marlon Davidson. I love it, and I'm glad he's on the team. Can't wait to see him in that big number 90 jersey, putting quarterbacks and running backs and anybody on the ground. So, and one last thing on Marlon Davidson. I told you, I love this guy. Just listen to how better he got throughout his years at Clemson. 2016, his freshman year, 38 total tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, 4 pass deflections, a forced fumble, and a fumble recovery. 2017, sophomore year, 48 total tackles, 6 tackles for loss, 3 sacks, a pass deflection, forced fumble, fumble recovery. 2018, junior year, 46 total tackles, 4.5 tackles for loss, 2.5 sacks, 3 pass deflections. And now, senior year, just look at the jump. So from freshman year, junior year, kind of stayed around the same, was consistent, didn't have bad numbers, was consistently good. But listen to his senior year numbers, I'll tell you them again. 2019, 48 total tackles, 11.5 tackles for loss, big jump there, 6.5 sacks, even bigger jump there, pass deflection, fumble recovery, and a forced fumble as well. Marlon Davidson is what we need on the defensive line, point blank, period. I'm mostly excited about Marlon Davidson. Sorry, all those draft picks. I love y'all too, but Marlon Davidson just hit me with a different vibe. Of course, I want all my draft picks to be good. I think they will be great, but Marlon Davidson, he hit off of me. Made a good first impression. All right, moving on to our third round pick. He was the 78th pick overall in Matt Hennessy. First of all, great last name. Goodness gracious. All right, listen to these numbers for Matt Hennessy. These stats are all from Pro Football Focus. He was the highest graded center in 2019 from Pro Football Focus, and he also had a 90.7 pass blocking grade in 2018, was 7th highest among all offensive linemen in college football. And you want to know who was 6th? His new teammate in Chris Lindstrom, who the Falcons obviously drafted last year. He allowed 1 sack, back to Matt Hennessy, allowed one sack, one sack over 1,380 pass blocking snaps in his entire career at Temple. This is a guy who knows how to protect his quarterback, and we are a team who desperately needs guys who know how to protect the quarterback. Because last season, our team allowed 50 sacks and 136 quarterback hits. So we need help on both of the lines. Thomas Dimitroff said that he was going to use those later round picks, fortifying both sides of the line, and he did, obviously getting Marlon Davidson in the 2nd round and Matt Hennessy in the 3rd round. Now, Matt Hennessy is just not going to sit on the bench until Alex Mack is done with, because obviously we have our starter and perennial Pro Bowler at center and Alex Mack. He is going to compete for that starting left guard position, people. So he can come in and make an impact right away. He can start at left guard now. He's going to compete for it. And then after Alex Mack's contract is up, most likely, he will be the heir apparent to Alex Mack and hopefully be protecting Matt Ryan and whoever is after Matt Ryan for years and years to come. That is what we hope for. That is what I'm praying for. And I believe Matt Hennessy will be able to get the job done because, guy with the last name Hennessy has no choice really but to be great. All right, so that is Matt Hennessy. Moving on to our first 4th round pick of the draft. He was the 119th pick overall, linebacker out of Fresno State, Michael Walker. Now, Michael Walker was a 2-time first team all-conference at Fresno State, ran a 4.65 40, and his career stats at Fresno State, spent 2 seasons there, 182 tackles, 22.5 tackles for loss, 10 pass defenses, and 6.5 sacks. Good numbers for 2 seasons. Now, Michael Walker, is a good sideline-to-sideline type of linebacker, has explosive off-ball speed, and he gets to the football in a hurry. A guy who will fit perfectly, again, in Dan Quinn, Raheem Morris's defense. He is a guy who will get to the football, will find the football, and from sideline to sideline, you can't stop him. But he does have some things he will need to improve on, just like we all do. He does have some stiff movements. He does do some uncomfortable sinking, like when he's, going into coverage. Not very good in coverage, and his football moves are a little stiff. But again, these are guys, when you get into later rounds, all these guys need things they need to develop on, but it is their skills, it is their technique that we need to focus on. It is their talent we need to focus on, not all their negatives, but their positives, because everybody comes into the league with negatives. Everybody comes into the league with, questions, question marks, areas that they need to improve on. So it is up to the coaches, and it is up to Michael Walker to want it enough to be able to improve in the areas he needs improvement on. So that's Michael Walker. Our next 4th round pick was Jalen Hawkins, safety out of California. This guy reminds me of DeMonte KZ, a ball hawk. He makes plays on the ball, and he was a former receiver, so he's good with his hands, and it shows on the tape. He was a 4-star receiver coming out of Buena Park High School in Buena Park, California. So, and he made SportsCenter top 10 with a play he made. It was a one-handed interception against Stanford. If you remember that play, I saw it and I was like, oh my goodness, it was like an Odell type catch. And remember, he plays defense, and there's a stigma about, defensive backs not having good hands, and that's why they play defense. But this guy has good hands. He's a ball hawk, so hopefully we will see him next to DeMonte KZ, Keanu Neal. Hopefully he can stay healthy and not be hit with the injury bug again. And hopefully he can be next to those guys making plays on special teams too. Michael Walker is another guy to look out for on special teams this season. So that is Jalen Hawkins. Jalen Hawkins also played corner and safety as a freshman, but then went on to start all the way at safety when he was in Cal. His career stats at Cal include 156 tackles, 9.5 tackles for loss. He is a guy who could also get in the backfield too, putting him in some blitz packages. He looked good on that tape I was watching of him earlier. And he had 3 forced fumbles, returned 9 kicks also for 129 yards. So there you go. Could be a return guy, we might see, it might be a competition between him and the newly acquired guy out of Minnesota, former 1st round pick, and Laquan Treadwell. They could be guys who fight for that returning spot. We need some electricity and in a return guy too. So look out for Jalen Hawkins there as well. And last but not least, our 7th round pick, 228th overall, the punter out of Syracuse, Sterling. I'm gonna say your last name wrong. I'm sorry. Hofrichter. I hope I said it right, but I'm pretty sure I did it. My bad. Should have looked it up beforehand, but I didn't. Sorry. And he'll be in a competition with Mr. Ryan, our punter, right now. So hopefully he comes in, makes an impact, gets us, flips the field for us. Everything you want in a good punter. To recap, I love what the Falcons did in the draft. They filled every need pretty much that they had to. Would I have liked to see them get a running back maybe in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round? Yeah, there were guys like DeAndre Swift, of course, Cam Akers, Jonathan Taylor. Would have loved to see a guy like that on the team, especially since we don't know what Todd Gurley is going to be. But it was more important for them to fill the needs, fortify both sides of the line, which is what they did in Marlon Davidson and Matt Hennessy. They filled a huge need at cornerback, obviously, talked about that earlier, getting A.J. Terrell to take the spot of Desmond Trufant, who we cut earlier in the season. So they did what they had to do. They got safety help with Jalen Hawkins. We don't know if Keanu Neal is going to be healthy this season. We don't know his future with the team. He's obviously 2 seasons in a row having back-to-back season-ending injuries. It's not a point that we don't like Keanu Neal. It's just we don't know how available he's gonna be. So we had to get a guy like Jalen Hawkins, bring him in, get some depth at the safety position. Ricardo Allen's not gonna play forever either. So this draft was all about the Falcons filling needs, and they did that, and I love it. It was a good draft for the Falcons. I gotta give them an A. They did nothing but fill needs. I mean, of course we don't know if the guys are gonna work out or not. That's in every draft. With every team, you don't know if the guys are gonna work out. The first overall pick could be a bust. We don't know if Joe Burrow's gonna work out. We don't know if Chase Young's gonna work out. There's a risk in every draft, every pick for every team. But I think the Falcons have good players in their hands. They gotta obviously mold them, develop them, but I think they brought in some good talent, and I'm optimistic. I'm gonna call it right now. I think my Falcons going to the ship. I think they going to the Super Bowl. We go see. So I think it's gonna be interesting. The Falcons, though, great draft. I think Thomas Mitroff and Dan Quinn did what they had to do, got some needs, and brought in some good talent. That's all for this video, guys. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Tell your friends about Hometown Take. We trying to make this thing global, worldwide, international. You know what I'm saying? And please check out an NBA draft video that is coming soon. I'm gonna preview the NBA draft, tell you where people have the Hawks landing in the draft and who they have the Hawks picking at possibly 4th overall or somewhere like that. You don't wanna miss it. Until next time, guys, peace.